take all of this with a huge rain. Hello there! If you're new here, I'm Miriam and this is my gaming perspective. It was 1 year ago, not exactly, but 1 year ago when Nintendo announced the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And they told us that it was in development. Since that announcement, we haven't really gotten new information about the game. And despite all the rumors that have arisen and all the speculation, nothing has really been confirmed. However, we do know a few things about the game, a few things that are actually going to be part of the new sequel or part 2 or whatever you want to call it. So I wanted to go over these things we do actually know and then talk about the few rumors that could potentially be true, even though you should take them with a huge, and I mean huge grain of salt. Let's talk then about the things we do actually know about this Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel. The first thing that was confirmed was the fact that it was going to be the same Breath of the Wild we saw in the first video game, in Breath of the Wild. It was going to be the same map and the same world. And this was actually confirmed by Eiji Aonuma in last year's E3. However, does this confirmation mean that it's still going to be the same map with the same locations and that everything is going to be the same? Well, no. For all that we know, there could be more underground areas we are going to be able to explore, since what we saw in the trailer looked like an underground place to me. Could it be a dungeon? Yes, it could also be a dungeon. At least I hope that maybe some few years have gone by after the story of Breath of the Wild, and this gave the characters time to rebuild Hyrule and to rebuild the castle town, maybe build a few more villages or towns or something like that, so that we can have more to explore. Either that, or I wish for the developers to add more areas to the map, more places, maybe more sea exploring like in Wind Waker, or more sky exploring like Skyward Sword. I mean, at the end of the trailer you basically see Hyrule Castle rising up towards the sky. Does this mean that the final battle is going to be in the castle? Probably. I mean, the final battle in Breath of the Wild was in the castle, right? So it makes sense that the final battle in this game too is going to be in the castle. Does this mean that it's going to be in the sky? Probably. If we base our theories in what we saw from the trailer, then the castle is going to be in the sky for sure. But does that mean that there's going to be more places to explore in the sky? I don't know. Another thing that has actually been confirmed is that the story is obviously going to be much darker. You don't need the game developers to confirm that when you can actually see that in the trailer, right? The first thing we realized from the trailer was that it was going to be a much darker story. And please give me story. Like, I need story, not flashbacks. I need a story, Nintendo. Please give me a story. Another thing that was confirmed was that this much darker story is by no means connected to Majora's Mask. Yes, it's going to have much darker story, but it has nothing to do with Majora's Mask. Nothing at all. And this was actually confirmed by Aonuma himself. And he said that the new Breath of the Wild, or the sequel to it, it's not necessarily going to be related to Majora's Mask or inspired by it. What we showed you currently is a little darker. Nothing more, nothing less. It's going to be darker. And that's basically it. Another thing we know about Breath of the Wild 2 is what game has inspired it. We also know that Breath of the Wild was inspired by Skyrim. And when asked what was going to inspire Breath of the Wild 2, he said that a lot of the younger staff working on Breath of the Wild 2 were actually playing Red Dead Redemption 2. What does this mean for Breath of the Wild 2? Well, I don't know. Does this mean we are going to have more interaction with our horses? There are going to be more things we are going to be able to do in the map? Does this actually mean anything at all? I don't know. Is it going to resemble Red Dead Redemption 2? I don't think so. The same way that Breath of the Wild didn't resemble Skyrim. Yes, of course, they were open world games and all that, and you had kind of like the same freedom as Skyrim, but they are not the same. So, the last thing that has been confirmed, and I say confirmed because it has not been officially stated, but a few months ago, Nintendo released a job listing for Breath of the Wild 2. And in this job listing, they were looking for people with experience creating field dungeons. It obviously hasn't been confirmed that we are going to see dungeons in Breath of the Wild 2. However, if we look at this job listing as a confirmation for that, then we are obviously going to see more dungeons in Breath of the Wild 2. Does this mean that they are going to be the same classical Zelda dungeons we know? No, it doesn't mean that. Are we going to see more dungeons? Probably. Are they going to be the ones we want to see? I hope so, but I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not the one who is developing the game, so I don't know. I can only wish for classic Zelda dungeons to be brought back, but however, it has also been confirmed that we are probably going to be seeing shrines again. And Aonuma actually said that one thing we learned from Breath of the Wild is that when we focused on creating a dungeon that has multiple solutions, it turned into this great title. That's one thing I want to polish up and use for inspiration going forward. So we are definitely going to be seeing shrines again, for sure. Now, let's talk about a few of the rumors that have been spreading through the internet as if they were Ganon's minions, because my god. But mind you, I'm not going to talk about all the rumors, because if I had to talk about all the rumors that have appeared since the announcement of Breath of the Wild 2, then this video would be never ending, and would be a pain in the ass to edit. Let me tell you that, a pain in the ass. Some of the things that have been speculated, and as I said before, take all of this with a huge grain of salt. I almost said grain of salt. Well, that definitely would be salty, wouldn't it? My god. Take it with a huge grain of salt. People are speculating that, and this actually comes from Tyler McBiker, or McBiker, or McBiker? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. And he actually said that unlike the first part, this game is going to be linear at the beginning, and there's no need for towers in the map, because Link already knows Hyrule. The thing that worries me here is that it's going to be linear at the beginning. What do you mean by that? So it's going to be linear at the beginning and then everything's going to go to hell? It's not going to be linear anymore? Are we going to have flashbacks again? Really? I've seen a few rumors also saying that we are going to have flashbacks even farther in time. I don't mind if we have flashbacks. Would love to know more about Hyrule's history and all that. But don't tell me that that's going to be the only story in the game. I don't want to experience a story through flashbacks. I want to actually experience the story in the present, not in the past. Thank you. And since he said that there are not going to be towers anymore, the developers have to look for another way to make you explore the world again. And he said that a lot of the areas in the world are going to be covered by this miasma thing, by Ganon's miasma, and then you are going to have to clear it up in order to be able to explore that certain area. That sounds believable, right? I mean, I understand that in Breath of the Wild 2, towers make no sense. They made sense in Breath of the Wild 1, but in the second one, in the sequel, they don't really make sense. And if you look at the trailer, towers were nowhere to be seen. So if we go from there, we can obviously deduce that towers are not going to be a part of Breath of the Wild 2. Does this mean that there's going to be miasma? No. But it does actually mean that they're going to have to look for another way in order for us to explore the world again. He also hints at the appearance of dungeons, and yes, please, dungeons. I want dungeons, yes, thank you. Another theory mentions that Ganon is not going to return for Breath of the Wild 2, and that seems really unlikely to me, especially since the main focus of the trailer was Ganon, and at least I think it's Ganon. I don't think it's going to be Demise or any other kind of villain. I think that the one in the trailer is obviously Ganon. So how can you say that Ganon is not going to make a return when he has already made a return in the trailer? Now there is another rumor going around saying that this new Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game is going to be called Legend of Zelda Bond of the Triforce. Apparently, in this game, both Zelda and Link are going to be playable, but Zelda will only be playable within the newly added dungeons. She's going to help you out to complete the puzzles and all of that, which could be great. And she will help you out in the open world. In addition, Link will also be able to harness the power of nature, maybe the ability to change the weather, like rain, which was a pain in the ass in Breath of the Wild, to be honest. It was a pain in the ass. Animals will also play an important role, and there are going to be new enemy types, which is good, because in Breath of the Wild they were kind of repetitive. As I said before, there are a lot of rumors online, and while Nintendo has not confirmed anything, and most of those rumors might not be true, it's nice to see people going online and speculating and giving their opinions and their ideas that actually sound pretty cool. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would love to be able to control the weather or nature or whatever I can control. Though I don't know if that's going to happen. Well, I mean, no one really knows. This is a rumor, and that's about it. There are even more rumors regarding Breath of the Wild 2, but there are too many to be able to fit in one video. I think I will leave some of them down in the description so that you guys can check them out. And if you have heard of any other rumors, don't hesitate and tell me all about it down in the comments below. And if you have liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos in the future. I'll see you in the next video.